Alright everyone, welcome to another video from Career Guidance Pro with me, Owain. That's Owain, like a glass of wine. Now, in this video, I'm going to talk about how not to feel nervous while speaking in front of people. Roll the intro. Right, let's get into it. Now, we've all been there. Somebody's asked you to do a presentation or do a speech in front of your co-workers or in front of a large room, maybe your team, maybe your section of the company. And of course, the butterflies start in the stomach. You start to feel really nervous and maybe you sweat a little bit and you're shaking and you can't sit still and you can't concentrate. Well, I'm going to give you my top tips on how to break those nerves, how to get past them. Now, this isn't a tip, but what I want you to start to think about is think about that nervous energy as excited energy, all right? Because the feeling is the same. Think about it. When you're nervous, you're kind of nervous and jittery, aren't you? When you're excited, it's the same thing. You're nervous and excited and jittery. It's a very, very similar feeling. So if you can switch your mindset, that's the first thing to do. So, what about the top tips? Top tip number 5. When you're actually stood there, slow down and breathe. What you need to get across to the audience is about 110 to 150 words per minute. And that's very comfortable. Very comfortable for them to hear, very comfortable for them to take the information in, very comfortable for them to be able to listen to you for the whole duration of whatever you're talking about. Because if you start to go too fast, they won't be able to take the information in. They'll miss everything. They'll miss all the key points and you won't be getting across your points at all. So slow down, take a breath. If there's a glass of water there for you, take a sip of the water. If not, take your own bottle of water with you or go and get your own glass of water. Then you can have that and you can put that in where you think, I'll take a little sip there because I've just said a point, it's landed, and I want them to take it in and let it soak into their minds. Top tip number 4 is engage your audience. Temper that fear. Make sure you're looking at them. Make eye contact with them. I mean, don't start staring at somebody directly for too long because then they'll feel uncomfortable. But similarly, don't talk to above their heads or don't talk to the floor. If you've got notes, don't look at the notes all the time. Make sure you're looking up and you're making eye contact with your audience. And that will help that fear slowly disappear. Because the more that you do these things, the more confident you'll become. Confidence is like a muscle. The more you use it, the bigger it's going to get. So get out there and temper that fear. Top tip number 3 is structure. You're going to have a structured presentation or a structured speech. And you'll have done this beforehand. You'll have done your prep. You've written the whole thing out, even if it's in bullet points. Maybe you've practiced it as well. My advice to anybody is always to film yourself. We've all got these smartphones these days, so get your smartphone on and record yourself doing the speech or giving the presentation. Then you can watch it back and you can think to yourself, oh yeah, that point doesn't really make sense. I didn't really land that, so I'll rewrite that. Oh, and at that point, I was moving around a lot. I was fidgeting a bit. Why was I tapping my foot? That's a bit odd. I'll try and stop doing that because that could be distracting. Notice these things. Critique yourself. And once you've done that yourself, if you're confident enough, go and practice giving your speech or making your presentation to a family member or a friend or even a trusted colleague. And they can give you some help and advice on what they hear and whether they think you should change any bits or whether that you're bang on the money. Either way, that will really, really, really help if you structure it. The best way to structure a speech is to have a beginning, a middle, and an end. Write down all the key learning objectives, write down all the key points that you want to make and all the ideas that you want to convey, and put them nicely into a structure. An opening couple of sentences, and then the first part is the beginning of your speech. We are giving people the context and the background. Then the middle is the chunk of it. That's the really beefy, deep dive that you're going to do into the subject you're talking about. And then the end, nice, clear finish with all your conclusions and your visions for the future. Round it off really, really nicely. Top tip number 2 is your mindset. You've got to get into that positive mindset 100%. Like I said before, with thinking that the nerves are excitement energy, try not to succumb to your fear, because fear is always going to be there with you. So make a deal with that fear. Say, look, I know I'm afraid a little bit about doing this public speaking or doing this speech in front of my peers. However, I know you're going to be there for fear, so I'm going to take you by the hand and bring you with me, because I'm doing it whether you're there or not. And top tip number 1 is that preparation. Get that structure down, get it all written beforehand. Make sure you know your subject inside and out. Because normally when we're asked to do a presentation or you're going to do a speech, you've got the time to prepare. So make sure you don't procrastinate too much and make sure you get it all done. Because afterwards, if you're unprepared, you'll know that you didn't do a really good job. And then, of course, that'll make you feel a little bit despondent. So get that prep done, get it in beforehand, and make sure you give the best speech that you can do. And get rid of all of those nerves. Okay, so if you'd like to work with CareerGuidance.pro, have a little look below. Until then, like and subscribe, hit the bell, you know what you're doing, and I'll see you in the next video.